school starts next week. So, but let's think of that cool water. I don't know about you all, but I went out and worked some this week in the back, on the deck, drenched, just drenched.
Yeah.
It's quite something, but anyway, so what have we been doing here at Unity? Well, in July, we took a deep dive into the 5 principles, a very simple framework, but it's something you can wade into, but never touch the bottom. And this month, we're doing something kind of similar. We're doing the 4 elements, as though you could boil it down to 4 elements, but it's been really kind of an interesting challenge to look at it that way. And so here's our 5 principles again, that simple framework. We always remember that. And it's elemental. And last week, Russ did the air we breathe. Really enjoyed that. And today is earth. And Travis has a test for you, because in the newsletter it said water. But if you read it, you might say, oh, no, but it's earth. The earth we are birthed in and rooted in. So, and we've got the 4 elements coming along, so Beverly's going to finish up with fire and water. And I kind of like the way we accidentally did this. We paired it this way because earth and air, earth and heaven kind of goes together, fire and water. So this is really going to be, it is going to be kind of interesting. But no matter how we talk about the world or our universe, let's go back to that first principle and let's say our opening statement together. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the source of all good. Now our daily word today, excitement. I've never thought of that as a daily word, but okay. But it's kind of like zeal, isn't it? I'm an active participant in this exciting life. Well, that's relating to principle number 5. I'm an active participant. And I love what this says. It says, each new day the sun rises on a world full of wonder. Y'all know I love wonder. From the magnificence of the natural world to the many fascinating things there are to learn and the many displays of creativity that surround me, I can find so much to capture my interest and kindle my excitement. Now, when I shrink from life, when my interest in exploration wanes, I can lose that zeal and passion. We get into those periods where we're bored or disengaged, but my active participation is the key. If I feel intimidated, I remind myself I am fully divine and fully human. Principle and law are everywhere available for my use. So as my interest grows, so does my excitement. That's the whole key. Be curious, be interested, and then see what follows. So I love that daily word. Daily word's been going on a long, long time, as has our affirmative prayer, our prayer practice. And last month, I spoke on principle number 3 about prayer, and I've kind of been keeping y'all updated. I offered a prayer experience with my son, and it's just changed me about prayer. And there's a couple of things that I learned. Pray from the other side of the problem. That can just change everything. So if you stop and quit getting morassed in your problems and pray from the other side, unbelievable results. And then I was telling Paul Hasselbeck's group on Thursday about this experience because we were talking about prayer. And someone said, you know what I noticed about your prayer? You prayed for everyone involved in the situation. And she was saying, Jeannie, that's praying from love. So praying from love, that's important too. And I want to report to you that the situation was resolved with my son, and he called me and he was tearful. He really was. He said, Mom, I can't believe this. And then he said, this really impressed me, Mom, I won. I mean, he had to pay some money, but he said, I won. So I was just, ooh, that's God bumps, as Susan Julie would say, because, that's prayers answered. It really is. Even though I didn't really know how it was going to resolve, but that's prayers answered. And it's kind of changed me a little as I think about prayer. So let's have our affirmative prayer for today. And we start with opening our hearts and minds to receive divine guidance, to listen, but opening to whomever we're praying for, and praying from love, because God is love. God is life, love, and wisdom, and that is so accessible to us. We are that. We are fully human and fully divine. I am that love. I can dig deep and find the wisdom for my actions, and I have the life to be vital and excited about this world. Today we're thinking about the earth, and I am grateful for my connection to this beautiful earth. And that there are disasters, particularly in Maui, that we're looking at, and we can feel that sadness and embrace those people on that island, or in Ukraine, or wherever. But just for us to sit in the silence and in the vibration, just knowing that things can change and we can contribute, even in that small way. The earth is not just the environment I live in. If we think about it, I am the earth. We are in oneness with all living things, with all material things even in the earth, and it's always carried within me. I am grateful for my inner life and wisdom, and I am mindful of my outer expression. I am grateful for this unity community and all the possibilities of expanding community connections. And as Ken has told me, praying for this solution that we are in the no longer and the not yet, in between, and we know the best outcome is there for us. I appreciate all my teachers and the unity teachings. So grateful to share with you all on Zoom and here in the salon this morning. May this prayer unleash our spiritual potential so we support those with whom we pray, and everyone awakening to their divine nature. We are blessed, and we are a blessing, and so it is. I was going to tell you this. I was listening to a Karen Drucker song. I was getting ready for Yoga Wednesday, and I know this is a corny saying, but the title of this song is, I am so blessed, I am not stressed. I am so grateful, I can't be hateful. And I really love that. And again, that's one of those really simple things. But sometimes those little corny sayings, they're simple to say, but it's hard to put in practice. But if you do, just feel the transformation in yourself. Yeah, Pam.
And when I say every single word from Louis, say I'm healthy, happy, and whole from the top of my head to my big toe.
Okay. But they're memorable, those little things, aren't they? I really like that one. I am too grateful to be hateful.
What was the other one?
I am too blessed to be stressed. I'm too grateful to be hateful. So here's a wonderful song that I found this week. It was on CBS this morning, and Kindness, Loyiso. So I want to hear more from him, but that was really good. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Okay. So we are the earth. We are birthed and rooted in the earth. This is a beautiful sacred geometry card I'm going to come back to. I brought my cards with me, and I'll explain more about that, but I love this card. Earth prayers. We are the earth. We embrace it. It embraces us. So, last week, you remember when Russ started, he said he was a little iffy about talking. He wasn't sure he really wanted to do it, and of course he gave a good talk as usual. But the Saturday before the Sunday, he told me, Jeannie, I've got all these pieces and ideas, and they aren't all together yet. And I really know how he feels, because I've been collecting pieces for this talk all week. And well, yesterday and last night, they were really up in the air, so to speak, and I'm hoping I can bring them back down to earth. As Chris said, he said, that's kind of ironic for someone who's going to talk about the earth. It's all in here. So that is really too. And you know, I am Tari and I am earthy, and I thought that would make it easy. But then I was sort of halfway into planning this talk, and I went, oh my God, I am not grounded in this talk. And it made me just kind of flip things and go, now you've just got to get grounded. So we'll see. But you know, Russ told us last week about Julius Caesar's last breath. And he said, you know, we breathe in about a liter of air and we breathe out a liter of air. And people have said that we all have, or many of us have, a molecule of Julius Caesar's last breath. You know, that we are connected to something that happened over 2,000 years ago. And I found that an amazing statement. But then it does really work. We're just connected in a way. You know, he said the air I breathe is literally the air you breathe. And in our breathing, we do experience oneness. Well, something similar happens with the earth. It's a similar idea. And you know, it nicely fits our theme this year. Do y'all remember that way back in January with the white stones? We said, I am connected. I am connected. So I love it that the elements really just kind of play into that idea. And with the earth element, we're connected through soil. We are rooted in soil. Now, you know, there's a deep understanding in the indigenous cultures that the earth is the mother. And we are born of this earth. And our biological mother really is only a representation of this same earth. The real mother is the soil that we carry as our bodies. The very body that you carry right now has been millions of bodies in the past. Kind of like that Julius Caesar breath. The insect, the snake, the cow, the monkey, the human being. We're connected that way. You know, ashes to ashes. We rise from the soil and back in. Soil is not just a commodity. It is older, wiser, and far more intelligent and capable than we are. It's a far bigger process than any one person. The soil. Now, I don't know about you, but I love to get my hands in the soil. I love to do gardening, even if it's hot. It's in fact, though, have you noticed how we're all staying inside? We're just hot. But when you get out in nature, you're barefoot on the grass, when you touch the earth, it's an amazing thing if you really think about it. And, but, you know, think about how mothers say, oh, don't get your hands dirty. Oh, don't go outside, you'll get dirty. So we've kind of looked at, instead of soil, we think of dirt. And then we've kind of put another connotation on it. It's dirty. You know, if a tree thought my roots are getting dirty, there would be neither flower nor fruit. A tree understands that when it sinks its roots into the earth, that this is a source of life. But we, the seemingly most intelligent species on the planet, sometimes we just don't get it. Human beings are not, they don't even understand sometimes what it means to be healthy. We get separated. We left the garden, didn't we? And we get into our, thinking we can control it, we can manage it. And then we think that really the earth is just, all the resources here are for our taking. We don't understand the cooperation that really should be going on. And this could be because we don't sink our roots into the earth. Somewhere in our minds, it's just become dirt, a resource. So we are not on the earth, even though this kind of grounds us when we're on the earth, but we're really of the earth. There is not a separation. You know, there's such intelligence in the earth. Beneath the forest floor is this mycelium, this network of mushrooms. Oh, I wanted to read this poem before I did that. I love this poem I found. So, the soil that you walk upon, the soil that you treat as dirt, is the magical material that turns into leaf, flower, and fruit. All that you know as life was at one time held in the eternal pregnancy of the sacred soil, mother to some and dirt to others. But the sacred source of all, the life-encasing cage of the body, is but the soil. Under farmer's till, potter's wheel, above all the divine will, it turns into the magical mill. And this is a bit more traditional, but we abide in Christ as the vine. We are rooted in Him as the soil, with Christ as the head. We are in Christ's body. Here's that millennium I was talking about. Mycelium, excuse me. So it's a root-like structure of fungus, and you can see these threads. It's everywhere. The mycelium infuses all landscape. It holds soil together, actually. It's very key to soil. It's extremely tenacious. It holds up to 30,000 times its mass. These are the grand molecules, the dissemblers of nature, the soil magicians. They generate the humus soil across the land masses of Earth. And we have now discovered that there's a multi-directional transfer of nutrients between plants mitigated by the mycelium. So the mycelium is the mother that is giving nutrients from alder and birch trees to hemlock, cedars, Douglas fir, all through the forest. You know, it's responsible for the decay, but then it gives back life. So there's that life and death polarity there within the mycelium. And this scientist, first, let me get something. He proposed this in the 90s, that the mycelium is really Earth's natural internet. When you look at the mycelium, they're highly branched. And if there's one branch that is broken, then very quickly, because of the nodes of crossing, internet engineers call from hot points and repair that. The mycelium is sentient. It is a sentient being. It knows that you are there. When you walk across a landscape, it leaps up in the aftermath of your footstep, trying to grab debris. So I believe, and he goes on, his name is Paul Stamets. And there are, you can go on YouTube and look at his videos. It's just a fascinating thing, this mycelium. And I love this picture too. There we go, the earth. It holds us together. It's soil and the mycelium. Now there are other networks. You know, an aspen tree, it's really one root system, but and in fact they maybe look separated, but there's a connection there. And so I think aspens are amazing. And then in honor of the banyan tree in Lahaina, there's an ancient one that was planted in 1873, and it has 16 trunks connected to a major trunk. And this is it before the fire. And I tried to find this morning. So you can't really tell, but it's smoldering. That tree was really damaged, and they're wondering if it's going to live. They don't know that but it very well may survive. I know that I lived in Flagstaff, Arizona, and there was a big fire on Mount Eldon, and it just amazed me in hiking that years after that fire, the trees did survive. So it can be an amazing thing, but it is so sad that this beautiful banyan tree, isn't it an amazing structure? So, and then another thing I learned this morning, so if we're going to talk about plants, we may as well talk about the animals. So there's a website, you should look it up, called Happy Whale. And the fingerprint of a whale is its tail. And those are different tails of the whales. And so what this group has done is they're tracking these whales. And because if you're out in the ocean and you see, you photograph a tail, you can send it into the website so that they can track different whales all up and down the coast. And it's totally amazing, but just think about it, so people are becoming really connected to the whales. They're not just great big gray blobs in the ocean. It's a living thing, and if we're connected to that, and there's so many ways to get connected to nature. So I love thinking about that. Now, we can't literally root ourselves in the earth. I mean, it's fun to walk on the dirt, but you can't, we don't live there. But we can have grounding practices. So in NIA, I love the grounding movements that we have. Now, here's one of my favorites. It makes me feel just bouncing. Let gravity pull you down. Y'all, bouncing is a wonderful thing to do. But, of course, we have many flowing movements in NIA, right, Chris? But we also have, you stomp on the earth and you use the rhythm of these earthy drums. And we get in tune with that rhythm, and it's so much fun. So movement's a wonderful way to ground. Well, breathing, Russ talked a lot about breathing, but we know that breath grounds us. And certain foods, root vegetables, for example, can be very grounding. Bread, just good bread. That's very grounding. We think about the lower chakras, but I relate them to the 12 powers. So the sacral chakra is related to the power of life, obviously. But then we have life and we have release and elimination. Well, that's the root chakra, a grounding chakra. And then I would have thought power would be with the solar plexus. But of course, Fillmore puts power with the throat chakra. But he has wisdom and order in the solar plexus. You can walk outside, or garden, touch the earth. What are some of the grounding practices that you all do? Does anyone have any? Meditation. Just sitting in silence.
Yoga.
Yeah, yoga is. There are certain sounds. There's seed sounds that we can do. Even Om, when you say it real deeply in your belly, is very grounding. Chris, would you have a grounding practice?
Wow.
Because you're kind of an airy guy.
I have as much ground earth in my chart as nothing. So asking me about grounding, I don't know. Anything that enables you to reach and have that sense of touching. Sometimes just walking and feeling your connection to the earth, the roots, even though it's only there for a second, it can establish a grounding at a different level.
Well, when you do it with awareness.
It's about awareness.
Feeling, yeah.
It definitely is
Get out of the Zoom
about
audience, can't hear him. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, thanks.
Good point.
So then there's the consciousness of union with the earth, being with the awareness. So there's a book that Thich Nhat Hanh wrote, A Love Letter to Earth. And he said, at this very moment, the earth is above you, below you, all around you, inside you. The earth is everywhere. You may be used to thinking of the earth as only the ground beneath your feet. But the water, the sea, the sky, Everything around us comes from the earth. Everything outside us and inside us comes from the earth, all the elements.
Which makes another great grounding practice to connect to the food you're eating that's coming from the earth as well as the stars.
Well, that is true. So, we forget to bless the food and realize to think about.
Connect it. Areas are one of our connections to the earth. It's how we survive, so it's an important one.
Yes. So mindfulness, mindful eating, mindfulness. And then another book, Spiritual Ecology. This is a Sufi teacher, Llewellyn von Lee, and he writes, "The earth is not a problem to be solved. It is a living being to which we belong. The world is part of our own self, and we are a part of it, of its suffering wholeness. Until we go to the root of our image of separateness, there can be," I should have said, "no healing." Okay. So really, when we're talking about these elements, we're kind of approaching a metaphysical idea, the idea of substance. The idea of substance. And so, we think, where did we come from? What, the word, it was just there, the substance that created us. This divine idea of the underlying of all things, substance is everywhere present. And it pervades all things and inspires to action. It underlines all manifestation and is the spiritual essence, the living energy out of which everything is made. Now, God is not a dispenser of divine substance. It just is. God is the allness of ever-present substance, the principle in which we live and move and have our being. Now, substance does not mean matter, because matter is formed while God is the formless. The substance that God is lies back of all matter and all forms. It is that which is the basis of all form. Yet it enters not into any form in finality. It cannot be seen or tasted or touched. Yet it is the one enduring thing in this universe. Everything else, material things, natural things, they all change. This substance just is. Now, I was going to put this at the first of the talk, and then I realized, okay, now that's just really getting ethereal and out there. But if you think about this substance as the oneness, now what happened with these four elements is that when philosophers became aware in like pre-Socratic times, in the Greek cultures, the Indian cultures, Tibetan cultures, they wanted to explain the natural world. And it's kind of funny, no matter which culture you pick, they all had some similar idea of these four elements, and most added a fifth, like some called it a void, and some called it the ethers, like the Greeks. But this is an idea that really held on all the way through the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. But then as time went on, with the age of reason and scientific thought, these four elements became many elements. But here's what is amazing to me, this is the periodic table. These are finite. And of course they have discovered a few more, but this is a finite number of elements. And we are wondrously infinite in finite ways. And the combination of these elements makes unbelievable material and physical substance. And then, of course, we have quantum physics. That's the study of matter and energy at a very fundamental level. And as this has come on, it aims to uncover the properties and behaviors of the very building blocks of nature. But you've heard, something can be a wave or particle at the same time. There's all kinds of non-duality in quantum physics. Now, I'm not one to sit here today and explain that, but it's kind of interesting. I think even Charles Fillmore in the atom smashing power of the mind kind of hinted at this idea, and it's like we've come full circle with this, even with science. So we have the metaphysics of substance. Now, working on our relationship with the earth is the easiest way to practice that oneness. That's the cool thing about the earthy stuff. So we have this ethereal kind of metaphysical idea of substance, but yet the earth has provided us a place to really practice in a practical way. It's a place where we can realize our divinity. So if we observe carefully, we can see the whole cosmos everywhere. Like this beautiful flower. I love morning glories. And this one was kind of unusual because I usually like the deep indigo blue ones, but this one I really love. Look at the perfection of the geometry. There's a pentagon in there that's absolutely perfect. And it almost looks like a Hindi point. It's like you can see into that flower into infinity. I just really love that flower. And the entire universe can be seen in it. If we look deeply into the flower, we see the sun, the soil, the rain, the gardener. Even when we look deeply into a blade of grass, a flower, a tree, we see that each one has its own intelligence if we just look. Now, I was telling Travis, that's a geode I have in my home. In fact, I'm sad to say it's in the corner of a room that I don't go into as much as I should. It's beautiful. I wanted to bring it up here, and Chris, it was, do you know how heavy that thing is? Aren't you glad that I didn't do that?
I think it was just, you didn't want to ground out.
Yeah, I actually.
It looks just fine where it is.
Yeah, it's just fine. I picked it up, and then I said, yeah, but then I gotta walk it out. But what beauty in the earth, and this is not a, so to speak, living thing, it's mineral and crystal, but it's so healing. Even in the non-living things, there are healing properties. So, just wanted to share that. Now, I'm going to close this morning by looking at the cards that I brought, the sacred geometry. And this is the Gaia grid. And there's ley lines all over the earth. And several traditions identify these grids. It's the consciousness of Mother Earth. Here seen, holding this planetary grid in Mother Earth's bountiful lap. The Earth grid is associated with geomancy, or ley lines, and the unified field theory. The geometry is most often represented as a dodecahedron and embodies fellowship, community, and our collective consciousness. Highly activated vortices and sacred sites abound at places where the geometries intersect. Migration routes and tectonic shifts often move along the paths of energies. Now, in Arkansas, we do have some sacred sites. Isn't it Pinnacle, around Pinnacle, that there is a definite energy source? And then we know we are blessed with crystal mines.
Also diamonds.
Yes, diamonds, yeah.
If you take the quality and the quantity together, we're the best crystal field in the world.
Wow. Well, in the old place in the United States for diamonds, even not quite like Africa, but it truly is amazing. So, but this is all over the world, all these energy lines. Now, the other card I brought today, and y'all can look at them. I brought the Earth Prayers, if you wanted to take a picture of those. And I wanted to tell you what's behind this. Can you see, there's hands around, and you really can't see it until you look at the card, but there's hands within. And underlying that circle is the flower of life. And the flower of life is really a very simple geometric design. It's beautiful, but it's intersecting circles. And the intersecting circles, wait a minute, let me get the symmetry of this. It's all about relationship. The truth is not in things or forms, but in relationship. And then another thing you see here are the tetrahedrons. And the tetrahedron is the most simple platonic solid. And there's only 5 platonic solids. You know, so again, that's an interesting thing to me, that in nature there's these beautiful things, but you think it just go on and on forever, but no, there's only 5 perfect, regular platonic solids. And the tetrahedron is formed by 4 triangles. It's the simplest one. And the tetrahedron has the sharpest points of all the solids, and it points and focuses one to take action with intentional movement toward your highest good. So that was combined into this card. And then we have 2 interlocking circles at the center, and that's called the Vesica Pisces. And it's just kind of like, it's a very simple, just 2 circles, and it symbolizes our home, Mother Earth. So I really, this is a beautiful card. So, with that, let's go to some meditation. So Thich Nhat Hanh, he says to remember these 4 breaths. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, my body is at peace. Breathing in, I take refuge in Mother Earth. Breathing out, I release all my suffering to Earth. I sit with strength and hold myself and embrace all sentient beings, all things, this earth. A beautiful breath that connects us to our earth and our heaven, our humanness and our divinity. It's a figure 8 breath. So I breathe out and imagine the breath scooping beneath my feet and coming back to the back of my heart chakra. So, and then I send that breath up to the heavens over my head and back again to my heart chakra. So you can imagine yourself encased in this figure 8. Send it out to the earth. And then up over your head. Scoop the earth energy and release it. Scoop the earth energy and release it. Shift attention to where you're seated and feel that connection that you've just made, heaven and earth. Expand your heart and feel all the connections. We are all interconnected. We are in those ley lines. Our bodies and the earth, the sun and the stars, all composed of the same matter, the same substance, the same basic particles, but joined in different ways. We are infinitely wondrous in finite ways. Feeling into that sense of connection and interconnection. We are all made of substance. You can call it stardust. Feel yourself in the center of it all. The power in that center. then reach out and out and out. Oh, limitless expansion. Return your attention to the breath, just breathing in and out, feeling the grace of this earth, this universe. Feel no isolation nor separation, just that sense of connection and interconnection. Be at home in your being, in your place on this earth, your center. Nothing more you need to do. Go, get, push away, strive for. Resting in this heart of the universe.